But you brought up the same director.
Yes.
Has another movie that you and I are like absolutely one of our top 5 movies of all time, which
Easily.
is Hereditary.
Yeah, I love that movie. The first time I saw it, it was when we talked earlier. You're 100% right. It's one of those movies where I saw it once, and then I couldn't stop watching it. And every time I watched it, I saw or realized something new about the movie.
Yeah, I tell people when they haven't seen Hereditary, I'm like, just get through it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, get through the movie the first time, because you'll be like, what the hell did I just watch?
Yeah.
But then watch it the second time, because the second time you're like, that's one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Easily.
But the scene in the movie, and I'll hand it over to you, because it's just one of those scenes. And if you've never seen Hereditary, I'll try not to give too much away. But there's a scene. It's in the first third of the movie, where a boy, he's probably 16, 17.
If that, yeah.
Yeah, and his little sister is probably 10, 11.
Mm-hmm.
And they're driving down like a country road in the car, and she's having anaphylactic shock because she had a peanut. And so she's sticking her head out the window to try to get whatever fresh air she can get to breathe. And he drives a little too close to a telephone pole.
Oh, Mamma Mia, Papa Pia.
And then, so he's driving at like 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
The girl's sticking her head out the car.
Mm-hmm.
He hits he skims the telephone pole, so the car's fine. Little sister, not so much.
Yeah.
He gets home, he parks the car, and goes to bed.
Yeah. Yeah. It's my favorite. I've seen the movie 5-6 times. It is easily my favorite. That little montage of scenes throughout the whole movie, and there's some crazy wild things that happen after that. But just as that feeling while you're watching it as a viewer, you see her head out the window. You know there are telephone poles, and you're thinking, "There's no way! Like there's absolutely no way that this is going to take place."
And it does.
And it does. And so as you're just sitting with that imagery in your head, you then watch this kid who's, like you said, 16. He's a kid. Go, and he gets home, and he's, just acts like he's just getting home from a late night party, goes upstairs, goes to bed. And the shot of him wide awake, laying down in bed, and you just watch the nighttime go away and the sun come up, and that is, I relate to that so much, of that feeling of you've done something horrendous, and you're just waiting for it to be found out. And
you're in bed thinking maybe it's just a dream.
You're praying to all of the gods that it will just go away. It'll just disappear, and you could just hide in bed forever. Oh, but you can't. Not if you just beheaded your little sister.
Oh, come on now.
Yeah. It's a great scene, and I feel like everybody at one point in their life can relate to that. Maybe not to that extreme, but that feeling of, oh yeah, I messed up, and I don't want anybody to know.
And I'm just going to go to bed. And
I'm just going to go to bed.
Yeah, and I was saying to Dennis on the last break, like the thing about, when you're faced with a life situation is not to isolate. Like, it's so hard to do things alone in any situation, in any environment. But in that scene of being alone in bed, knowing you've done something catastrophic.
Yeah.
And just like it harkens me back to like when I was a kid, and I would do something not nearly that bad, but in the eyes of my father, who was just like, it didn't take much. I could like pour the wrong milk into a bowl of cereal, and it would set him off. But like that feeling of like, I just made a mess in the kitchen, and I'm going to go to bed, and I'm not going to clean up the kitchen, and I know what's coming, but maybe, just maybe, if I go to sleep, it'll be okay.
It'll just go away.
And those thoughts in your mind while you're laying in bed, like
anxiety, anticipation, pure fear.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, that's such a, we were talking, so before we brought this up, because I was like, let's not talk about scary movies, but it's just like, there's something so rich about that moment.
Yeah.
There's something so rich about that moment of just like being in bed. And that, because there's such, like, I like going to sleep every night for the solitude that brings. Like, that's normal.
Yeah.
Like, normal situation is like, I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to like think about, aliens or this show or something that makes me happy.
Well, and the other layer is it's such a universal thing of getting in bed and hiding under the covers.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
like
totally.
that's your safe spaces. You just hide under the covers, and then you'll be fine.
Nope.
And
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and the whole time, as a normal viewer, you're thinking, well, you just stop the car and call somebody. Stop the car.
Oh, yeah.
Call 911. Tell your parents. But the fact that he doesn't do any of that and just goes to bed.
And then the scene, where the next morning you hear the mom walk out the door, like, "Oh, I'll be right back," and then just this gut curdling scream. Like, what did she see? Oh my God.
Yeah. And in that moment, you as a viewer, that kid, and everybody knew that from then on, nothing would ever be the same.
Yeah, totally.
That was it. And that was his hope, was that it would all just stay the same.
Yeah.
But it couldn't.
And boy, talk about unraveling and unpacking something else with this, is any feeling you have in life where you've done something and you're like, nothing will ever be the same moving forward.
Yeah. Whether it's good or bad.
Whether it's good or bad. And it's just like, that's just such a feeling of like hopelessness, especially if you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
And there's microcosms of that when you're like, you say something wrong and you're like, oh man, why did I say that for? And then it's just like, it eats at you all day. Like, why did I say that? Why did I say that? But yeah, it was just totally like that feeling of like, I just want everything back to the way it was. Can we just hit rewind 24 hours? I won't take her to the party. I won't let her have, peanuts or whatever it was.
I'd bring her to the room to smoke pot with me and my friends.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, because then you would have been able to watch her.
Yeah.
It's that day. I know for sure everybody at least once in their lifetime wishes they could go back in time just once.
Oh, yeah.
When they've done something, you're just like, I just wish I could go back 10 seconds. Just give me 10 seconds, God.
Yeah. Like what? Like we should all get that.
Yeah.
Like when you're born, it's like, here's your kit. And one of the things in your kit is a rewind button. And you can only use it once.
I know. It also speaks to how people get comfortable with routine. You get so comfortable with your routine and your life and how things are going that when something does happen, whether it's good or bad, and everything changes, it can give you shell shock for sure, because at that point you're now back and thrust into the unknown and the uncertainty of what's next now. And that's the adventure part, the danger. Yeah.
Totally. All right.